Hey everyone, it's Christian, your Vancouver Realtor, and for today's video, I want to talk to you about a little adventure I had in Omaha, Nebraska. So a couple of weeks ago, I flew down to Omaha, Nebraska. You must be wondering, where is Omaha? So it's literally right in the middle of the US, and you must be wondering, well, why the heck would I go down there? So the reason I went down there is Berkshire Hathaway, which is one of the 10 largest companies in the United States, is run by Warren Buffett. Of course, he's almost 92 years old, and it's been on my bucket list for a long time to go and see Buffett in person speak. And these Berkshire meetings really kind of have taken on a life of their own. Buffett kind of, in a joking manner, calls them Woodstock for capitalists. So it's a big party for people who love to learn, who love to connect, and want to learn more about investing and business. So that's me. So I made an appointment to get down there. I figure Warren Buffett's coming up to 92. His right-hand man, Charlie Munger, less well-known, but an incredible investor in his own right and billionaire, is 98 years old. Collectively, these guys are 190 years old. I figured I better get down there as soon as I can before I don't get the chance anymore. Although they both look like they're in pretty good health and they are sharp as tacks, which is just a sign and an indication that being a lifelong learner and reader will keep your mind nice and sharp. Now, I want to describe a little bit of the event and 5 things that I took away from this meeting. So these meetings, the way they're structured is Buffett is taking questions for 6 hours. Yes, a guy in his 90s is sitting there in a stadium or an arena, 17,500 people, and he's taking questions for 6 hours long. He and his partner. And many of the questions are about business, some about the companies they own, investing, and some of them are about life. And I want to share with you the ones about life that really grabbed me, and I loved their advice. So I wrote it all down, and I wanted to share some of that with you. I hope you find it really helpful. So now, by the way, just the way you know the way these things work, because there's so many people, there's generally about 30 to 40,000 people who attend these Berkshire meetings. It gets really, really packed. And so, if you want to get inside the arena where he's actually speaking, you need to line up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And so that's what I did. I was up there at 4:45 in the morning and, befriended some of the other people in the lineup, met some nice folks from Austria and Germany, and even a young man from South Korea studying in London. So very interesting group, and we spent the afternoon together, and we were seated probably about 50, 60 meters away from Buffett, and we had a front row to the proceedings. Now, what were some of the good questions he was asked? Okay, he was asked about inflation. So inflation's obviously on a lot of people's minds. Inflation's running at about 8% right now, which is massive. We haven't seen these kinds of numbers since early 1980s. So Buffett's advice on inflation was really to be the best that you can be in your field. And so what he was saying is you want to be the best lawyer, doctor, dentist in your town. If you have exceptional skills, exceptional talent, nobody can take that away from you. That's yours forever. And so people are always going to pay you for those talents that you have. Your skills, right? So you have to be very, very good at something. And I said, the word he used was be exceptional. And I think Buffett's very careful with the words he chooses. So he doesn't just say be a good dentist. He says be an exceptional dentist, right? And so that was his response to inflation. Some people may find that answer disappointing. So, they may want something a little more concrete. But again, the point he comes back to is be a lifelong learner, be very, very good at what you are, and there will always be a market for your services. And when there is, you're protected against inflation. I think about a great example. Myself, as a real estate agent, I work really hard. I try and read 2 to 3 books a month. I'm always trying to share that value, share whatever I've learned with my clients, whether it's one-to-one or maybe even if it's just these mini videos that we do. But the point is, if you take good care of your clients, there's always a market for your services. You building your business, you start getting referrals because people have learned to trust you over a lot of years. So take that to heart. Work on building your skills, improve your talent. Okay, next advice was get advice on your behavior. Now, this is a little bit more subtle. Both Buffett and his partner, Charlie Munger, said, you should really know your own behavioral style and how you make decisions and how you interact with the rest of the world. It's interesting because you can't see yourself, but the rest of the world can. And you will only learn about yourself in interactions with other people. And that is whether it's your work colleagues, maybe family members, a spouse, a partner. So you want to be learning about yourself. So some people may, for example, lack courage. And because of that, they sit on their hands. They don't take action when they should. That is something you can often learn with your interactions with other people. Others may be very emotional when it comes to making a big decision, and maybe too emotional. And again, that's something that you can get feedback on, possibly from your colleagues at work. And you may have to ask for that feedback, but they really hit that point that you want to know your own behavior and you want to learn it as quickly as possible. Okay? A great piece of advice they said is write your own obituary. And that is, what you would see in the newspaper when someone has passed away is how are they remembered by the community, by their friends and family. Well, how do you want to be remembered by your community, friends, and family? Write it down. Put it down on a piece of paper. This is advice from some of the most successful people on the planet. All right. Let's move along. The next step, the next one they say, is, tying into this, is learn from your mistakes. Very important. Buffett likes to tell a joke here. He says it's even better to learn from other people's mistakes. So, and the encouragement there is read biographies, read business biographies. You can see some of them on the back of my cabinet there. And that is, you can learn a lot about the mistakes that others have made before you. And so you can just not make them. Now, Buffett also says you want to be self-reflective. And so maybe you take once a month or once a week, take some time to sit down and journal about your week. And this is something I like to do. And if I think about maybe the 2 or 3 things that I screwed up last week, journal them. And I literally will visualize what can I do differently next time. So it's interesting to hear them suggest the same things. And just on that, you want to learn quickly from your mistakes. He included the word quickly in there. Next up, be selective about the type of person you want to be. And there's an interesting example that Buffett gives often in this, and he says, think of a person you really admire. Write their name down on the left-hand side on the top of the page. And then conversely, think of somebody who really turns you off. You just do not like. Maybe it's a boss at work. Write them at the top of the page on the right-hand side. And now just go down one by one. Make a list of all the qualities that you really like about the person that you admire. And conversely, make a list of all the qualities about the person you don't admire, you really don't like. So, and when you get to the bottom of the list, it's very simple what to do next. It's just do the things, be the person that you admire. There's no reason that you can't do all the very same things. If the person that you admire is very generous, they are a great listener, they ask good questions, they care about other people, and so on, there's no reason why you can't be all of those things as well. right? So that's all you have to do. And on the right-hand side, you might say, oh, that person is not a very good listener. They're obnoxious. They're insensitive. Well, you don't want to be those qualities, obviously, so just don't be that way. So a very little interesting exercise that you can do for yourself on and improve your own character. All right, and moving along, this was just finishing off on this, and it was fun, and this was coming from his partner, Charlie Munger, who said, don't waste time doing the things that you are not good at. So if you don't have a good aptitude for things, don't waste time trying to do it. A good example for myself would be, I realized kind of early on in life, I was not very good at calculus, geometry, and algebra, and I was probably not. It just didn't come naturally to me. So I steered away from fields that would require those skills. Now, if that's something that comes naturally to you, by all means, you want to go down those lines. I've always preferred dealing with people, solving problems in the real world, and I guess that's where becoming a real estate agent really ties well into that. So think about it from your own end. What do you have an aptitude for? When you pick it up, it just feels natural. You just feel comfortable doing it. You pick it up very quickly. That's what you should be doing with your life and your career. So those are some of the life advice and suggestions that Buffett and his partner Charlie Munger had. Hope you find those helpful. If you got comments or questions, you can leave those below. And we'll see you next time.